What is going on, guys? This is Daniel. Great start to the NBA playoffs, and today I want to talk about the Nets' surprising upset over the 76ers in Game 1, as this game was not even really that close. And what stood out to me was the Nets' defense. They had an excellent defensive game plan, and they executed it to perfection. So I'll be talking about that, and then later in the video, I'll get to what the Sixers can do in Game 2 to try to have more success on offense. Let's get to it. The basis of the Nets' game plan was that they were going to help off mediocre and non-shooters on the Sixers to an extreme degree. And this strategy was such a sound one against the Sixers in particular because they have so many mediocre to non-shooters. Here, for example, Harris has it in the post, and we see that Embiid is on the floor, 30% three-point shooter. Simmons doesn't shoot threes at all, is on the block. And then Jonathan Simmons is on the weak side, he's only a 27% three-point shooter. So on this play, the Sixers have three mediocre to bad shooters, and the Nets don't respect any of them. We see on the drive, two Nets collapse on Harris, and the best the Sixers can do is an open three for Jonathan Simmons. Here's another example of the spacing being a problem. Harris does a nice job of attacking the closeout, and it should be an advantageous situation. But because Kurucs can help a lot off of Embiid, and you have Simmons on the block, there's no space for Harris to drive and penetrate the defense, and he opts for the mid-range jumper. Where the Nets deserve the credit is that from Game 1, right off the bat, they turned this strategy into an extreme one. And here we see Caris LeVert not even really guard TJ McConnell, who's a 33% low-volume three-point shooter. And when passed the ball, McConnell doesn't even look to shoot. The offense stalls from there, and on this possession, Jimmy Butler is actually called for an off-ball foul. What was also impressive was how the Nets were dedicated to this strategy even in transition. So here Simmons is revving up his engine, but you see the Nets form a wall, four guys in the paint, and they can do this because they're helping off of Jonathan Simmons. They're helping off of Embiid, guys they want to shoot. So this was quite important. Ben Simmons, who had a rough game, could not get his typical transition buckets as the Nets were packing the paint. And here's another example as LeVert helps off of Jonathan Simmons in the corner, and now Ben Simmons can't finish to his right if he wanted to, and he ends up forcing a bad pass to Harris. Now, a good option for a player that's being ignored is to cut to the basket, and we see that here. Boban has it in the post, and McConnell is not being guarded by anyone really, so he sneaks behind the defense and hits a short jumper. But the problem was, in this game, the cuts didn't always work. Not against a defense like the Nets, who are super active, and here's an example. So using a back screen, Harris is open off of the cut, but Dudley does a nice job of helping in the paint off of Ben Simmons to take away that pass. Now what Simmons tries to do is cut when he sees all of this happening, but Dudley is quick to recover, and he ends up forcing Simmons into a tough shot. Good active defense. The other essential part of their game plan was that they were denying Redick pretty much the whole game. And here's a great example. So Butler is dribbling on top and nothing is happening, but we see Joe Harris is between Redick and the ball, complete extreme positioning, and this is in anticipation of any screen Redick may run off of, and it was clear they did not want Redick, a legendary shooter, to beat them. Now, what precisely does this denial do? Well, it denies Redick a path to a screen or a handoff, and we see this in action here. So they're setting up a screen for Redick, but Dinwiddie is in denial position, and when it's like this versus a screen, it's called top lock. Now, Redick can't go his normal route. He has to go a different direction. This allows Dinwiddie to stay close, and here Redick does get the handoff, but it's a tough look as Dinwiddie contests nicely. Now, several times, Redick tried the most obvious counter, which was the backdoor cut. And so Redick is being denied by Harris here, and he is open. He does gain separation from Harris on the backdoor cut. But two things. One, Redick isn't an alley-oop threat, so this pass isn't as easy as it looks. And two, notice how Russell does a nice job of blocking the passing angle on the help. And he can do this because notice who's on the floor near the top, Embiid and Simmons, two, in the Nets' eyes, non-shooters. And we see that Russell and Allen were in the lane, and they helped prevent that backdoor cut to Redick. Again, the Nets overplay JJ, which frees up the opportunity for the backdoor cut, but again, the lack of shooting for the Sixers prevents this backdoor layup from happening. Ben Simmons has the ball, so Treveon Graham can sag way off of him and play the passing lane, and this is very solid defense by the Nets. One more time, Redick tries the backdoor cut, and he's open at first, but the Nets defenders are quick to help in the paint off of some non-shooters, and Redick fumbles the ball. And this denial strategy was quite effective against Redick. 5 points, 7 shots. Now, let's get to what the Sixers can do offensively in Game 2 and what needs to change. And the first thing that needs to change is Embiid's mindset. So, he had a weak mindset going into this game, and I understand he wasn't 100%, but he started off taking a lot of threes. He was 0 for 5 on threes in this game, and this is exactly the shot the Nets want him to take. And I say weak meaning he wasn't aggressive on the interior. Here, after setting a screen, he catches it, and he has a one-on-one opportunity with Jarrett Allen, who's one of the skinniest centers in the league, but he flat out turns it down, and that's not what you want. He didn't look to assert himself inside. Here, after a set play is unsuccessful, Ben Simmons catches it on top, and Embiid has the opportunity to duck in against Jared Dudley of all people and demand the ball. But he doesn't. It also doesn't help that Simmons isn't looking his way, and it's a turnover. Embiid did get aggressive, but it wasn't until midway through the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much already decided. Then we saw him attack the basket and pummel smaller players, and there he draws a foul. And then on this next play, Embiid has it in the post one-on-one against Ed Davis, and this is a mismatch, and Embiid gets the layup. And then on the very next possession, Embiid is doubled in the post, but he's a good passer and he finds Simmons for a layup. Where was this the whole game? So, in Game 2, Embiid needs to establish himself inside more, and then also, as a team, the Sixers need to utilize Redick better. And if you're wondering why I'm showing you a clip from a game against the Pacers, it's because here is an example of a good set they can run against the Nets, where you see Redick has an option of 2 screens. He can run along the baseline or on top. A play like this is a good counter to top lock. Top lock is great, but you can't deny a player 2 directions. So if you give Redick an option like this, now he can actually run off of a screen. On this play, the defender denies the screen toward the baseline, so Redick uses the screen toward the top, and he hits the 3. But unfortunately, in Game 1, we didn't see this at all. The other way I'd like to see the Sixers utilize Redick is more as a screener, and we saw this some in Game 1, but not enough. Here, Redick is used as a screener. We see Harris is denying that handoff. So what Redick does is he'll set a ball screen for Embiid, which gets Embiid attacking off of the bounce. Now on this play, Redick holds Allen and is called for an offensive foul, but I still like the idea, and this is something they should go to in future games. This was also nice. In early offense, Redick will set a back screen for Simmons, and you can see why this would be effective. LeVert is denying Redick, so he's on the high side, meaning LeVert isn't prepared or in position to help on the back screen. So if Redick sets a decent screen, Simmons will be wide open, and that's exactly what happens. Simmons is open, but Harris doesn't make the pass, and they miss out on the opportunity. On this play, the Sixers actually score when Redick sets a back screen. In the set play, Redick sets it for Embiid. The Nets make a rare mistake and miscommunicate on the screen, and Redick is open for 3. So to summarize, the Nets exposed the 76ers' lack of shooting and took away their best shooter by denying him the ball. Going forward, the 76ers need Embiid to dominate inside in this series and utilize Redick with different sets and as a screener, in my opinion. So there are ways for the Sixers to improve their offense, but their spacing issues aren't going away. And it's going to be an uphill battle, especially considering this is not the most cohesive team that always gets the ball to the right spots. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking to increase your basketball IQ as a player, coach, or hardcore fan, go to smarterbasketballplayer.com to learn about my new online program, which I've worked on to increase your basketball IQ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.